Hey, friend, what do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.
Hey friends, welcome back to another episode of the Amber May Show. I am glad you joined me today because I have a great guest. Her name is Holly Swenson. She's the author of Stop, Drop, Grow, and Glow, Forming Deeper and More Joyful Connections with Yourself and Your Children. And we're going to be talking about loneliness, and it's not just an adult problem. It's hitting kids harder than ever. 2 years after former Surgeon General Vivek Murthy warned of our loneliness isn't just an adult problem. It's hitting the kids harder than it ever has before. And after 2 years, the former Surgeon General Vivek Murthy warned of our epidemic of loneliness as new data shows that isolation remains widespread, especially among young people. A 2025 Pew survey found that nearly 1 in 4 adults feel some loneliness most of the time, while a recent Common Sense Media report reveals that the issue is even more acute for adolescent boys. So we're going to be talking about that and how we can combat loneliness in our society. And then we're going to talk some more stuff about, current events. There was something that happened at UC Berkeley, and we're going to talk about that. And gas prices are still pretty expensive. We're going to talk a little bit about that. But Attorney General Pam Bondi and FBI Director Kash Patel have reportedly submitted documents to Congress revealing the Clinton Foundation took donations from foreign and domestic sources. What does that mean? I have a really cute story that has to do with a deer that smashed through a window. And so we're going to have some fun on today's episode. So like, share, subscribe. If you like the episode, please repost. I would really appreciate that. It doesn't cost anything. Hey, and remember, I have Premium Day on Tuesdays. So if you would like to join me on Tuesdays for premium content, right there in the Rumble, there's a button right there that you can subscribe to Rumble Premium for $10 a month and have access to everybody's premium content. But I understand if $10 is too much for you. Right there in the Rumble chat for $5 a month, you can have access to my content that's premium because Tuesdays are premium days. So consider becoming a premium member for $5 a month right there in the chat. We're going to have fun. Remember, I always add more content. Join me on Telegram at The Amber May Show. I'm on True Social, Amber May, Frank Social, AmberMayPickaxe.com. My Discord server is in the link below, so you can find me there. And hey, if you haven't made the switch to Patriot Mobile yet, why not? It's the only Christian conservative cell phone carrier out there. Keep your name, keep your number, or upgrade. And with 100% U.S. customer service space, it makes switching easy. And the best part, if you use my name, Amber, you're going to get a free month of service. So go to patriotmobile.com/Amber or 972-PATRIOT and let them know Amber sent you. So how about we get on with the show because I have a lot to talk about. Here we go.
On the Amber May Show, the truth runs deep. Fighting for the lost, for the souls who weep. Breaking the silence, making a stand. A voice for the people across this land. Children stolen, lives betrayed. She won't back down, she's lighting the way. A beautiful warrior with faith so bright. Holding the line in this endless fight. On the Amber May Show, the truth runs deep. Fighting for the lost, for the souls who weep. Breaking the silence, making a stand. A voice for the people across this land.
Friends, welcome back to another episode of the Amber May Show. I am so glad that you are here today. We have a lot of great things to get to today on today's episode. I kind of wanted to start out with this. Nick Sordo is on X, and he's saying that Assistant Attorney General Harmeet Dillon says that the DOJ is looking at possible federal hate crimes charges against Antifa rioters who target conservatives at UC Berkeley last night. So let's check out what Nick Sordo had to say about that.
Well, it's fantastic to have you on the show tonight. Thank you for joining us. UC Berkeley has condemned the violence, promises to take appropriate measures, I guess, against those who violated campus rules. But is that enough?
Well, Laura, thanks for having me so much. It's a pleasure to be here. This feels to me like deja vu all over again. I think it was like 8 years ago that I came on your show and talked about suing UC Berkeley for exactly this type of violent chaos that happened on the campus. And at that time, Berkeley was preventing conservative groups from having conservative speakers and then exposing them, if anyone ever came, to this type of violence. I sued them. I won a settlement, and Berkeley agreed to protect the guests of conservative speakers. And yet here we are. They seem, as Savannah mentioned, to be completely prepared. The Berkeley, local police as well seem to be unprepared, undermanned. They treat it as if it's a both sides problem. It is not a both sides problem. When a violent mob like Antifa comes and attacks like this, it's what we call a heckler's veto in First Amendment jurisprudence. And given the fact that there has now been a terrorist designation here, the Joint Terrorism Task Force is going to be looking into this together with the DOJ, my Civil Rights Division, and the FBI, and understand what happened here. How did it come to be the case that when Berkeley has noticed that this type of violence occurs on the campus when conservative speakers come to speak, and by Rob Schneider had been scheduled to speak, it was a sold-out crowd of 2,000 people, and less than 1,000 people were there in the stadium because people were intimidated by this violence. So this is not a consequence-free situation. Berkeley has announced, oh, we're so happy that 1,000 people came to hear this. That is not the whole story. The story is that when Sonia Sotomayor comes to speak, when the Dalai Lama comes to speak, the Berkeley campus somehow is able to protect the speaker and all of the people who attend. And when it's a conservative speaker, it isn't. So we have some serious questions and concerns about this, and there'll be a full federal investigation. We've already sent 2 letters to Berkeley and to the police to preserve their documents so we understand how we came to this horrific situation to make sure it never happens again at UC Berkeley.
So what particular statutes are potentially triggered here? The terrorist designation for Antifa, but is it this? So this would be a civil rights, could be a civil rights conspiracy action? Conspiracy to violate civil rights?
Absolutely. It could be 18241, 242. We also have hate crime statutes that apply. I believe that some of the epithets that were hurled at some of the members of the crowd made reference to their race and to other protected characteristics under the law, the comments about Charlie and so forth. So we will be obviously looking at, a deep dive into all the potential criminal and civil aspects of this. But, the obvious version here is, oh my gosh, it's Antifa attacking people. But I also have concerns about UC Berkeley's history of not protecting conservative speakers on the campus. And I also have concerns, as the top civil rights lawyer in the United States, about whether the Berkeley police are doing their job under the law to protect citizens equally. That's an equal protection concern, Laura. It's the type of thing that we do bring in the Civil Rights Division, and we are going to be looking at that very seriously here in this case.
Well, Harmeet, you are doing unbelievable work at DOJ, and I know it's not been easy for any of you with the government shutdown, but you still keep chugging, and you all been continuing your investigations. I know people want to see action here, and we're confident.
Yeah, and here's the thing. They know that if they capture the school system, they can convince all of the children, all of the students, that we need to get rid of capitalism and usher in communism, so they cannot have conservative people coming to speak at their schools, because that could plant ideas that could totally undermine what the agenda is for the globalists. The one thing that they want to go after is the media and the schools. They've done that very successful for so many years, especially if they can indoctrinate the teachers to keep teaching generation after generation after generation how we are the worst country in the whole world, where we're imperialistic, where, we shouldn't love our country because of all the things we've done, especially in support of slavery, right? So we need to abolish basically our way of life right now, usher in communism, i.e. bring in the one world government. I mean, there's a clear agenda there. You can't have conservatism on the school campus. I did want to bring up one thing, the GLP-1s. I wanted to give you some more information on that, because we did hear this week, or was it last week, that Donald Trump is lowering prescription drugs for the GLP-1 medication. And so I found this article and I wanted to bring it to your attention. And this is coming from Medical Express. And they said GLP-1s linked to dramatically lower death rates in colon cancer patients. That's incredible. A new University of California, San Diego study offers compelling evidence that the peptide GLP-1 receptor agonist, the class drug behind Ozempic, Wegovy, and Mounjaro, for example, may do more than regulate blood sugar and weight. And an analysis of more than 6,800 colon cancer patients across all University of California health sites, researchers found that those taking GLP-1 medications were less than half as likely to die within 5 years compared to those who weren't on the drug. The study, led by Cuomo PhD professor in the Department of Anesthesiology at UC San Diego School of Medicine and a member of the UC San Diego Morse Cancer Center, used real-world clinical data from the University of California Health Data Warehouse to assess outcomes across the state's academic medical centers. After adjusting for age, body mass index, disease severity, and other health factors, the GLP-1 users still show significantly lower odds of death, suggesting a strong and independent protective effect. The survival benefit appears most pronounced in patients with very high BMI, hinting that GLP-1 drugs may help counteract the inflammatory and metabolic conditions that worsen colon cancer prognosis. Researchers believe several biological mechanisms could explain the link. Beyond regulating blood sugar, GLP-1 receptors agonists reduce systematic inflammation, improves insulin sensitivity, and promotes weight loss, all factors that can be dampened tumor-promoting pathways. There's more to this article, but I will stop right there because I also want to share another article with you. This was from Fox. Fox said that GLP-1 weight loss drugs now linked to cancer protection in women, major new study reveals. So the new research has found New research has found that the weight loss and diabetes drugs, officially known as the GLP-1 agonists, are associated with a reduced risk of some cancers, especially in women. Researchers at Indiana University and the University of Florida analyzed the incidence of 14 cancers in adults with obesity who were prescribed the GLP-1s, comparing them to cancer rates in non-users. The study, published in JAMA Oncology, examined health record data from 2014 to 2024 for adults over 18 years of age who were eligible for anti-obesity medications and did not have a prior cancer history. Of the 86,632 individuals sampled, 68% of them who were female, the results indicated a significantly lower overall cancer risk among those taking GLP-1s. Taking GLP-1 was particularly associated with the reduced risk of endometrial, ovarian, and meningioma cancers. Although the research was mostly positive, the study did find an association between GLP-1s and an increased risk of kidney cancer, and researchers noted. The researchers concluded that long-term follow-up studies is needed to clarify the understanding mechanism and clinical implications of these findings. So I just wanted to kind of share that information with you. Okay, so I don't know if you're feeling it, but I do feel it here in Arizona that the gas prices are still high. In Maricopa County, we buy our gas from California, so that would make sense because look how red California is. Here's the national retail prices. We're super red because you buy it from California in Maricopa County. The national retail prices are anywhere from $4.69 to $3.27. Now, if you're like Utah, it's a little bit less. It's $3.26 to $3.02. Like Michigan's like that in that area. So Michigan's average is about $3.06. Now, the states that are doing great are the ones in the blue. You know, you have my neighbor to the next, New Mexico. Their average is about $2.82. Colorado's $2.86. Let's see, you have the Virginia, $2.92. The states that are killing it in terms of prices is states like Texas, $2.62. So the range of these really dark blue is anywhere from $2.76 to $2.55. That's the range. Oklahoma's $2.55. So yeah, what's contributing to this? I have no idea. I really don't know. I know that it depends where you buy it and how much taxes they put. Like California taxes the crap out of the gas, and Maricopa County buys it for whatever reason. I don't know. We're going to take a break right now. When we come back, we're going to look at the Clinton Foundation. Benny Johnson has a post on X that's going to talk about the Clinton Foundation and what they're discussing. We'll be back right after this. Hey folks, I want to tell you about something that I have been using in my own life, and those are called GLP-1s. Now, I didn't take it lightly. I did a lot of research. I looked into it, did a lot of reading. I talked to a lot of people that have been on GLP-1s for a very long time before I decided to try it for myself. And losing weight and improving your health doesn't have to feel impossible. Whether you've tried everything or you're just starting out, sometimes the right support makes all the difference. This episode is brought to you by LifeRx.md, one of the largest custom GLP-1 and peptide companies in the U.S. And LifeRx is helping thousands of people taking back control of their health with personalized peptides protocols, including GLP-1 starting at just $250 a month. There's no contract, no subscriptions, no hidden fees, and best of all, no insurance or waitlist required. With 24/7 customer support, LifeRx is accessible, affordable, and built for people who are ready to become the healthiest versions of themselves. So whether you're looking to lose weight, optimize performance, or simply feel better in your body, LifeRx makes it easy to get started. So visit the link below to get started with LifeRx and get started with your GLP-1s and get started today. So make sure you click the link below. The link is in the description so you can get started on your weight loss journey for better health. What I found fascinating is that Fox News was reporting that weight loss drugs, the GLP-1s, are now linked to cancer prevention in women, a major study reveals. So that is very exciting. Like I said, I didn't take this lightly. I worked hard. I looked at all the literature that I could find out there. I talked to a lot of people, different physicians, before I made the switch. And with this company, it's the first company that I found that was the most affordable out there. And they've had amazing customer service. And that is why I'm bringing them to you. So if you're ready to get started, click the link below and get started today with your GLP-1s.
Hey, this is Jeff Dornick, and you're watching The Amber May Show.
Let me tell you a quick story that's important to you and your family's health. In 1963, the FDA banned a promising new discovery in the fight against cancer. Laetrile, also known as B17, was so popular among its consumers that some 70,000 plus Americans crossed into Mexico to smuggle it back into the United States, according to Newsweek. Laetrile was under constant attack by big pharma, big media, big government. Sounds familiar? Kind of like Ivermectin. And just like Ivermectin, Laetrile was both a solution and a problem. You see, Laetrile is naturally found in 1,200 plus foods, including apricot seeds. So Big Pharma can't make money off of it, and that's a big problem. In the 70s, Sloan Kettering, an American cancer research institute, found Laetrile was successful at preventing cancer and stopping it from growing. That's according to numerous sources at Sloan Kettering and researchers for the movie Second Opinion. So what does this mean to you? Well, I'm going to give you a source for Laetrile. So to find out more, go to the rncstore.com, and when you're there, use promo code AmberMay at checkout. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Amber May Show. Glad you're here today. Please give me a like, a follow, a repost. I would appreciate that. That doesn't cost you anything. So I'd appreciate it. That helps people find the show better, helps with the algorithms. But the Clintons, are they going to feel the hot water? Do you think they're finally going to have to face the music that they are not above the law? For so long, they have been above the law. And Benny Johnson is reporting that Attorney General Pam Bondi and FBI Director Kash Patel have reportedly submitted documents to Congress revealing that the Clinton Foundation took donations from foreign and domestic sources seeking influence. Officials told Just the News that documents were transmitted to the State Judiciary Committee in recent days and details numerous instances of foreigners and even U.S. defense contractors seeking to curry favor with the Clintons through donations to their family charity, including Hillary Clinton served as Secretary of State. Bill Clinton was U.S. president from 1993 to 2001. The officials said that some of the evidence was flagged by whistleblowers who claimed such evidence was kept from corruption investigations that was being conducted in 2015 by the Little Rock, Arkansas U.S. Attorney's Office before it was shut down by the Obama administration Justice Department. Why would that be? Why do you think the U.S. Attorney would shut it down? Why do you think the Obama administration would shut that down? Come on. No one's above the law, right? Then how come so many people that had high up powers were trying to help the Clinton administration avoid corruption charges? They all scratch each other's backs. That's what happens when you're on the Hill. Brawling deer smashed through window into Denver basement exercise room. This is coming from Cowboy State Daily. Kind of a funny story, if you want to call it that. Here's a picture of the deer and what happened. Here we go. Let's see if you can see that okay. Yeah, you could see that okay. So yeah, this is what the deer looked like. He busted through a window He got into the exercise room. So a two mule deer bucks were brawling so hard with each other that they tumbled into a window well and crashed through the plate of glass into the basement exercise room of a suburban Denver home. Anyone in the chat live in deer country? I'd love to know. Let me know in the chat if you live in deer country. The incident happened at about 12:30 a.m. Sunday at Roxborough Park, a semi-rural neighborhood adjacent to a Colorado state park of the same name, according to the report. And after the befuddled homeowner called for help, Colorado Parks and Wildlife agents showed up and shot the bucks with a tranquilizer dart. The zonked out deer, which apparently suffered only minor cuts, were too much for CPW personnel to move. So firefighters from West Metro Fire Rescue were brought in to assist. That's interesting because my husband, he can pack out a deer. But I don't know if he has to quarter that in order to pack it out. I'm not sure. I'll have to ask him that question. I'm like thinking, why can't you get the deer out? If you have a couple men, you know, some of them get one set of legs, the other get another set of legs. I'll have to ask him what he thinks about that. It's not the first time that deer have broken into a suburban Colorado home. In 2022, a mule deer bucks tired fighting his own reflection in the plate glass. So that's hilarious. So this buck thought he was fighting another deer. Okay. So a mule deer buck tried fighting his own reflection in a plate glass window in Colorado Springs. He crashed through the glass and was discovered chilling in the basement home office. Can you imagine? That deer was also tranquilized by CPW and hauled outside and released. Can you even imagine? Mating season battle. It's likely that the bucks were sprawling because this is the time of year for mule deer rut or mating season. So deer and other wildlife are common in the Roxborough area, West Metro spokesperson said. It's a subdivision with wildlife and urban interface. Do you guys live in a place like that? Let me know in the chat if you guys live in a wildland urban interface. West Metro has also been involved with other animal rescues. They're including saving dogs, horses, or deer that have fallen through ice. How scary. We pulled out a deer out of somebody's basement before, as far as I know. A firefighter said a mega mover to get tranquilized bucks out of the house. Can you imagine? I can't even. It's essentially a large reinforced canvas tarp with gripped handles along the side. Firefighters slid it under each deer in turn, grabbed the handles, and gently carried the animal out. Couldn't the people that came from the CWP do that with a blanket? I mean, really? So, yeah, that's some of that story. There's more to the article, but I'll kind of just leave it at that. I wanted to share this with you. I found this. Actually, Terry sent it to me, and this is what's happening in Europe right now. When kids go to class, this is what they're being taught in the UK. Here we go. Could this happen in the United States? I guess it's determined to be seen.
Hands up like this, palms open. Very good. We're going to begin with the words we talked about on the board. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Can you say it with me? Bismillah ar-Rahman. Lovely. Now we bow forward, foreheads down gently on the mat. And hands up like this, palms open.
See, in the United States, you can't really teach religion. So would that fly in the United States? Guys, I'd like to see in the chat what do you guys think. Do you think that would fly? You think the school teachers could get away with that? Well, I found this on the Dilly Mean team. Let's play this video. I thought it was, I kind of liked it. So let's see if you guys like it.
Trump is something special, man. Nobody is even close to Donald Trump. It's not close. Trump is so special that people don't realize. And I'm telling you, no one's like him.
I ain't many that are built like me. I'm the last of my kind. Grew up on the back road, baby. I know how to survive. Being out with the young guns blazing, so you better not try. You'll never find another like me. I'm the last of my kind. I'm the last of my kind. I'm the last of my kind.
DJT is so unique. It really is. It's hard to describe. No one's like him.
Got folks that carry some shit, can't cross state lines. Ducking cops in the 3rd Hills, baby. We ain't paying no fines. If you're coming to the sticks, still maybe bring a four-wheel drive. You'll never find another like me. I'm the last of my kind. I'm the last of my kind. I'm the last of my kind. Try to find another just like me. You'll be looking for a real long time. 'Cause I'm the last of my kind. This world can be a son of a bitch, or look through my eyes. Can't always climb to safety, sometimes you gotta fight. Go get it if you want it, keep the fire burning inside. You'll never find another like me, 'cause I'm the last of my kind. I'm the last of my kind. I'm the last of my kind. Try to find another just like me. You'll be looking for a real long time. 'Cause I'm the last of my kind. I'm the last of my kind.
Nobody is even close. Nobody. When you talk about sacrifice, danger, management, leadership, structure, vision, it's not close. The boss is that far out in front and that much better than everybody else.
Up high in the Red Rock Mountain, almost lost my mind. I'll be out with blackbirds swinging, circle around them skies. Can't wait much longer, baby. Yeah, it's my time. You won't ever find another like me. I'm the last of my kind.
There is no president like him before. And I think what appeals to all of us about him is the fact that he's like us. Yes, he's a billionaire, but he's so relatable because he likes the things we like. He likes going to sporting events. He's a family-oriented person. He talks like us. You know, speaking of, I'm wearing my if you ain't first, you're last shirt because I like NASCAR. And I bet Donald Trump would like NASCAR. I can't imagine a man not liking fast cars. Maybe he won't watch it on TV, but I bet if he attended an event, he could be like me and say, if you're not first, you're last. Ricky Bobby, I got this as a gift, so I wanted to wear it because I got it as a gift yesterday. And so today I wanted to wear my Ricky Bobby shirt, if you're not first, you're last, because I love NASCAR. It's coming up in March right here in Phoenix. I can't wait. And the F1 racing's coming the same day. So I could get 2 races in one. I'm really excited about that idea. And then here's another meme, kind of, sort of, with Trump as a wrecking ball. So here, let's play this one out. I think this was a great video too.
They tried, they sued, they threw the book. They thought they'd keep him down. They used the courts, tried every trick, but he's still coming round. They schemed, they fought to make him fall, but all their plans fell flat. They took their shots, he took them all, and now he's coming back. Don't you ever think we just walked away? We'll always fight through. We can't fake a smile, the stakes are high. We'll always want truth. He's coming like a wrecking ball. He's never hit so hard before. Now he's gonna build the wall, and he's gonna make you see. Yeah, you're gonna see. Now Elon's here to cut the
Hey guys, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to meet with our author, Holly Swenson. We're going to talk about loneliness in the United States of America. But I hope you will join me tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern. After this interview, we're going to go into the Michael Schwartz show. And then make sure you tune in tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern, where I will be guest hosting for Dr. Michael Schwartz. And then make sure you follow me at 2 p.m. Eastern. I have Handy News joining me as my guest tomorrow. I think we're going to have so much fun. So I hope you join me tomorrow at 2 p.m. But we're going to go into Michael Schwartz show later on today at 7. But then tomorrow, join me at 10 a.m. on his show. And then we're going to be here right back at the Amber May show at 2 p.m. with Handy News. So let's take a break. And when we come back, we are going to meet with our author, Holly. Hey friends, if you're looking for a doctor you can trust, look no further than Dr. Stella, and you can find her at drstellamd.com. Let me show you one of the areas that I love about Dr. Stella. I enjoy supporting the immune system, especially when it comes to cold and flu season. And I love the COVID Light, the COVID Sleep, especially if you're having trouble sleep at night. Get that COVID Sleep. It'll help you so much. So not only are you supporting the immune system, but it also helps you get a good night's sleep. The COVID Spray is super easy. COVID Bites. These are my favorite, the COVID Bites. She has placed vitamin C, D, zinc, and quercetin. And we all know that that zinc helps support the body's immune system, but zinc needs delivery system. So that quercetin is the delivery system to drive that zinc in to help your body heal faster and feel better. Also has COVID vitamins for kids as well. Hey, and if you're looking to get Ivermectin or hydroxychloroquine, or you just feel under the weather and need a doctor you can trust, set up a telemed appointment with her. And the best part is when you use my name, Amber or Amber May, at checkout, whether you need your COVID Bites or a telemed appointment, you will save money at checkout. So don't forget to use promo code Amber or Amber May at checkout to save some money. So go visit drstellamd.com and then use promo code Amber or Amber May at checkout to save some money.
I'm author and filmmaker Dinesh D'Souza, and you're watching The Amber May Show.
And hey, if you haven't made the switch to Patriot Mobile, why not? They're the only Christian conservative cell phone carrier out there. Have access to all 3 major networks. Keep your name, keep your number, keep your phone, or upgrade. With 100% U.S. customer service base, it makes switching easy. And the best part is when you use my name, Amber, you're going to get a free month of service. So go to patriotmobile.com/Amber or call 972-PATRIOT and let them know Amber sent you. That's again, patriotmobile.com/Amber or 972-PATRIOT and get that free month of cell phone service. And now we return to the show already in progress. Well, I'd like to welcome my guest, Holly Swenson, to the program. Welcome, Holly. Thank you for coming today.
Hi, Amber. Thank you so much for having me.
I like the topic because I think it's super important that we discuss loneliness. And I think it's really cool that you became an author. Your book is called Stop, Drop, Grow, and Glow, right. Forming deeper and more joyful connections with yourself and your children. I think that idea in itself is very important, but I would like to discuss loneliness. Yeah. So there was a document that came out from Harvard that was saying that the U.S. Journal Vivek Murthy placed the spotlight on America's problems with loneliness when he declared the issue in an epidemic in the spring of 2023. So I want to talk about that today. But before we get started, I'd like to get to know you a little bit better. I know you're a nurse, so I would love to hear your story of your journey of what made you want to become a nurse, then write a book. So please share about who Holly Swenson is.
Sure. I love the invitation. So I'm formally trained as a nurse. I worked neuroscience unit before we had our children. We actually have 4 children. So I've had a couple of, real catalysts for me stepping into the work I'm doing, but truly from the time I was a child, I was just a natural caregiver. That's what I've been, I think, really naturally aligned with. And so, worked as a nurse. We still have 4 children at home. We have 3 teenagers and 1 11-year-old. And for me, I wrote my book, Stop, Drop, Grow, and Glow, really to be of service to parents everywhere, because so many parents are struggling in this day and age, which then that stress transfers to our children. And I really want to break some of these bad cycles that we're in. And so for me as a mother, I've had to go through different awakenings, I think I would say, and I've had to learn different tools to really help me thrive during this extended season of parenthood. And so I really just felt called to write this book, to share what I've learned. I've continued to show up and do this work because I think once you know better, you have a responsibility to help other people find better pathways in their life. That's why I'm doing this. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, did you kind of put the nursing to the side when she became a mom?
I did. So I used to work nights. I would do 312s, and we got pregnant with twins right out of the gates. And so I did try to go back for a short time right after they were born, but we had some different things show up, and then we got pregnant with our third right away. So there was some different, I was just pulled to really, I think, be at home and raise our children. And it's something that I will never regret doing.
Me too. I left my radio job when I got pregnant, and I was about to, have a baby. So I left my radio job, a job that I absolutely loved, because being a mom was so much more important to me. I was crying on the way to work one day, and, I was getting closer and closer to delivery and thinking like, I've been waiting for this baby. At that point, it was like 8 or 9 years, and I've been waiting for this baby, and I finally was going to get the baby, and it was breaking my heart at the idea of having to give her to somebody. And I was just like, oh, I don't like that idea, that I'm going to not even spend time with the baby that I've been waiting for so long. And so I'm crying because I'm in this situation. Like, what do I do? Do I put her in daycare and still do the job that I love? Or do I quit my job that I love and take care of her? And I ultimately made the choice to quit my job, and I've never regretted that decision. I never looked back and say, man, I really I made a really big mistake back then. I should have kept with that job. I have had so much joy in raising my kids, being with them. Don't get me wrong. I've had mommy margarita days where the toddlers, especially the 3-year-olds, I had enough and I needed my mommy margarita. Like, I've had those moments too, but overall, I have really enjoyed motherhood. And it sounds like you kind of had a similar journey.
Absolutely. I mean, it's not easy. So, and I think parents they wrestle with all of these different things. And there's a lot of, mothers who don't get to stay home with their children. And so I realized the privilege that I had,
right.
But we also were like, we're choosing to have this family. We want to be present for them. And so that was the biggest, reason. But I think no matter where you find yourself, I think you have to be careful with that guilt word. Sometimes you feel guilty if you're going back to work, or you're guilty if you're staying home and you're letting go of your professional career. It's a tightrope to walk. So I think just enjoy whatever chapter you find yourself in. And if you are blessed to be home with your kids, then make the most of it.
Absolutely. I want to take a minute and read just a little bit of this article that I found, and it's from Harvard. So it's what's causing our epidemic of loneliness and how can we fix it? It's the Harvard Graduate School of Education. They came up with this. And like I said, that Vivek Murphy, he spotlighted this in spring of 2023. And Murphy explained in a letter that introduced an urgent advisory that loneliness is far more than just a bad feeling and represents a major public health risk for both individuals and society. Murphy also pointed out that although many people grew lonely during the COVID-19 pandemic, about half of American adults had already reported experience of loneliness even before the outbreak. What do you think has been causing this, the feeling of loneliness? Do you have any ideas or, best guesses?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think there's a combination of factors. And I really love that you point that out, that this isn't just a bad feeling. This is truly, it's much deeper than that. And so I think you have to look at things like, we have a lack of meaningful social connections in this day and age, and it starts in childhood. A lot of kids are, they're very plugged in and connected online, but they're very disconnected in the real world. And so I think that is one of the biggest issues. I do think the COVID pandemic definitely played a part in furthering this epidemic. But as you point out, this was something that was already brewing before that happened. And so I think you really have to, I think those are two of the biggest catalysts that are causing this. But I think you also have things that, our younger people go through, internal struggles like low self-esteem. Mental health issues are a real concern. You've got depression and anxiety. So there's different things that are definitely feeding into what we're seeing play out. But it is important too that we that we talk about this because it's not just a bad feeling. It is truly a significant public health issue.
What do you think is contributing to the mental health issues that we're facing in our young people? Do you have any ideas about that?
Yeah, screens. Again, it's screens. A lot of this, I think, comes back to screens. You also have a lot of our kids aren't going outside as much, which is really interesting. You know, a third of our children don't play outside on school days, and 20% don't play outdoors on weekends. That is something that has really shifted from when I was a kid. We spent so much time, and probably for you too. I mean, you'd go out and, you know, be home by the time the, you know, street lights come on. That was kind of how a lot of kids rolled back in the day. But in this day and age, kids are oftentimes sitting inside, and they're just kind of going into these loopholes that aren't really serving them on a deeper level. And I think kids don't even know what they're missing because their whole childhood has been, a lot of them have been immersed with screens. That's what they know. So
I mean, it does kind of help babysit the kids a little bit, especially when like you're going through something or you're doing something. I think that as a parent, it kind of helps. Like, I'm going to be at a doctor's office. Here's a screen. Or, hey, I'm going to meet with this individual. Here's a screen. Or you're just so stinking tired. You don't want to deal with anything. So here's the screen. I mean, I used to love spending my time riding bikes. I wanted to spend all my time outside riding my bike. I loved riding my bike. So yeah, I mean, I did spend quite a bit of time, except in the summer. In Phoenix, the summers are pretty hot. But other than that, I would love, and we would go swimming. So, you know, even then, at least we were outside swimming. I guess I'm grateful that we didn't have so much screen time, because then we had to figure out how we're going to entertain ourselves. And kids could have the best imagination. Some of the games that my kids play really impress me with what they come up with.
You're right. And that's what boredom, like creativity stems from boredom. And our kids are so stimulated that they don't know, you know, they don't have enough time to be bored, to have those creative, you know, ideas pop. And so I think really creating space in your day with your children where screens aren't present, that's a really great thing to partner with. Like for our kids, like they're not allowed to bring their phones into their bedroom. And, you know, mealtime is another time where like screens are not welcome at the table. That's our time to sit down and have connection, unpack the day, have good, you know, conversation. And I would like to also point out that 1 in 4 Americans reported eating all of their meals alone.
Oh no!
And this is a 53% increase from 2003. So when mealtime is, you know, like we're social creatures, and so many people aren't nurturing this, and a lot of kids are getting plugged in at the dinner table. I mean, you see it. You go to go to restaurants, and I'm not shaming parents, because I know that struggle is real. And sometimes parents just want to sit down and have a meal without, you know, dealing with all the chaos. So, but I do think that there is a level where, hey, as the leaders of your family, we got to teach our children how to have this connection at a deeper level. It's going to help.
What I'm hearing you say is there's a balance in it all. You know, you don't take one extreme or another, but you balance it out, is what I'm hearing. Now, I found this to be interesting, and I don't know if you have any insight on this, but people between 30 and 44 years of age were the loneliest. 29% of people in this age range said they were frequently or always lonely. What do you think is contributing to that?
Well, I think some of what we've talked about, I think, you know, I think loneliness really, you know, you look at different things like the social isolation that a lot of people, you know, experience. You look at inactivity. I think, you know, you look at rates of obesity and some of the struggles that people they have, that maybe they're not moving enough, or they're not getting out in the community enough. They're not, you know, there are ways that you can start to break this up, especially for our people. You know, consider volunteering or getting out and getting, you know, if you feel like you're, you know, at home and you're lonely and you can't find anyone to hang out with, volunteer. Like that's a great way to break out of your own headspace and get involved and feel like you're part of something bigger than yourself. And I think a lot of people are hungry and searching for their purpose in life.
Right.
You're not going to find it staring at your screen necessarily. You might come across something that like sparks that, but you have to have purpose and meaning in your life. And so if you're feeling like you're lacking that, you know, get out there and do something for someone else, and that will start to help those feelings dissipate.
When you were saying that, I was thinking the exact same thing. I said, go out and volunteer. What I've been hearing from people is that like they just don't leave the house. They go to work and then they just don't leave the house. I'm like, well, what do you think is going to happen? You're going to have a friend that just drops out of heaven and knocks on your door and says, I'm here. let's be friends. Like, that's not reality. You have to do something. And I was thinking the same thing, like you, volunteering or finding a club of some kind that you're interested in. I've been telling the people on the show that, because my show's more politically minded or current event driven, I said, become a precinct committeeman. I'm a precinct committeeman. Then you have something in common. You guys all like politics together. Okay. So then you could find out what's going on in community, be better informed. And then you're with like-minded individuals, right? Or you can find a crafting thing, or, there's the beer clubs where people make home brews together. And then that would totally satisfy some of that loneliness. Now, I want to get your take on this. From what the article is saying, we talked about technology. That's the number one, and you hit the nail on the head. Insufficient family time, which you kind of mentioned at dinner time. 66% choose this issue as a reason for loneliness in America. People are overworked and too busy or tired. And that's kind of where the parents are like, here's the screen. I'm just too busy, or I've been stressed out at my job. You got a crazy coworker. You have a really hard boss, or just maybe the deadlines you have to meet are insane. Mental health challenges that harm relationships with others. We talked just slightly about that. Living in society that is too individualistic. I found this very fascinating. And then the other one they mentioned is no religious or spiritual life. I also found that interesting. You mentioned something about finding your purpose. Yeah. I think when you spend time like going to church, getting in a closer relationship with God, I think you could find your purpose. And then, as you mentioned earlier, finding your purpose helps with that loneliness factor. What do you think about the living in a society that is too individualistic?
Yeah, well, I mean, absolutely. I think we are truly meant, like you look at, at our ancestors, they lived in community. We took care of each other, and we are living an individualistic lifestyle. And it is leading to isolation and depression and unhappiness and division even, because we're forgetting, we're dehumanizing people in our society. We're disconnected. And so I really think we need to start moving into more spaces of community, of even if there's difference present, that you still value who they are and what they stand for, and that we take care of each other and have that mutual respect. And and I think that takes work. I think it takes intentionality. It takes maturity, and a willingness to really try to take care of, I say, like, treat strangers like you would your child, with love and respect. And even if it's hard, that's the push. That's the ask of, like, we are living in a time that's very challenging, and it can be easy to go into your own world and get negative and disconnected. But maybe step outside of the four corners of your home and walk down the street and try to offer a smile instead of a scowl. I mean, it's just little things that you can start shifting. And what you'll find, you offer a smile, and 8 times out of 10, someone's going to return that smile. It can be simple as that. Like, it feels good to give a smile and to receive a smile. That's an instant feeling of connection. And no words have to be exchanged. It's little things like that you can start taking action in your life to feel more connected to the world around you.
Now, let's go back to the parenting aspect, because your book revolves around the parent-child relationship. And one of the questions you ask in the book, or in the description of your book, is, do you dream of parenting with more peace, patience, intentionality, balance, and joy? How does one attain those things?
It starts with cultivating more self-awareness. It starts with taking care of yourself at a deeper level. And so my book is really foundational. So my framework is Stop, Drop, Grow, and Glow. It's in my title. So it's really going in and doing a check-in with yourself as a parent. Like, how am I doing, both as a parent and as an individual? Because I think it's really important to nurture both aspects of who you are. And then really taking steps in your life to become more aware and awake of who you are and how you're showing up. And so that can be things like practicing. I advocate for daily self-care for our parents. So that's one way to start finding more joy. A lot of our parents don't take care of themselves, and it doesn't have to be big or expensive or any of those things. It can be 5 minutes you give yourself. Start small if this is something that's new to you. But give yourself a minute to breathe, or enjoy your coffee, or do small things. I say, like, do microdose your self-care, so that by the time your head hits the pillow at night, you feel like you've taken care of yourself. Because if you're running on empty all the time, your children feel that stress. And so it starts with waking up more. It's in your own life. It starts with maybe dropping habits that aren't serving you. So it can be any drama, trauma, personal past lived experiences that you're carrying, maybe that are keeping you from living in the present. It can be partnering with healthier choices like your diet, your exercise, making sure you're getting sleep, those things that people are aware of, but really they do make a huge, profound difference in how you feel and how you show up for yourself.
Can you talk about that for a minute, since you have that nursing background, about what happens during the night when you're sleeping, and how could that positively or negatively affect us during the day?
Well, that's when you do all your repair. So, and I was recently listening to something where it said the first 2 hours, like from 10 to 12, is like the golden time to really prioritize getting that sleep. That's worth, that's like the golden time to really hit that rest and repair at a cellular level. And for our children, that's when, the growth hormone is released at night when they're sleeping too, in that deep sleep. And a lot of parents don't realize that.
No, I didn't know that. Okay.
A lot of, it's released throughout the day in small doses, but especially during deep sleep at night. And so sleep is so important for growth, for health, for mental wellness. And so really establishing a healthy sleep hygiene is going to be tremendous boost in helping you find more thrive in your everyday.
Okay. Anything else that it does that you know of? I mean, I'm just trying to learn about sleep myself, because I find that I wake up tired a lot, and I'm like, no, I need to get better sleep.
Well, I'm not a sleep expert, but those are kind of the highlights. I mean, that is where your body is going in and doing that cellular repair, and I just don't think we value sleep enough. People are watching TV maybe right until they go to sleep, or even after going to sleep. That tells your body it's time to stay awake. And so it's harder to drop into some of those, that more restful sleep that your body truly needs to feel sustained and operating at the highest level.
Right. What do you think is a key point that you want to make when you're talking to people about parenting with intentionality, or making sure you don't feel overwhelmed and stressed out all the time, and that you give your children, a more, I don't know what the word I want to use here, as you're parenting, maybe more presence? What would be a key takeaway that if nobody listens to anything else, what would be that one thing you would impart on somebody?
If you really want to change your family and the dynamics there, it first starts with you. I think we're really taught to look outside of ourselves, or how can I fix my child? How can I fix this? So much of the struggles you face in your own life typically stem from you. And I think that's a hard thing for people to maybe embrace. But what you're going to notice is, as you start improving who you are, everything else in your life gets better. And that starts with just waking up more, doing a self-assessment on yourself. And, and then, if you need outside support too, if you're really going through something, don't be afraid to lean on that as well, because life is not easy, and we all have our different, trials and tribulations. And there are many chapters of life, but start with you first, and start making those self-improvements. And you're going to find that everything in your life, not just in your family, but beyond the walls of your home, in your workplace, in the world, if you start operating from a higher level, it's going to positively impact everything.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And is there anything in particular, if we just focus on the child aspect and raising a child, that you think is really important that parents should know?
I think it's important to connect before you correct.
Okay.
So
what does that mean?
Try to foster more connection. And this isn't about like letting your kids get away with whatever they want. But I think, we have a lot of reaction in our society. There's a lot of reactive parenting, is how a lot of us were raised. So I really focus more on becoming more responsive. And so what that might look like is taking, say you're in a triggering moment, your kid's having a meltdown or something's going sideways. Instead of just kind of lashing out back to them, give yourself 4 seconds to pause and breathe before you open your mouth and step into that exchange, because oftentimes it's going to help you come at it with a little more grace and a little more composure, a little more leadership, because you don't have to get, if your child's like, spinning out of control, you don't have to join in that. Like, you can be the calm in the storm. And so I just think it's important to try to connect with them. Like, I see you're having a hard time. How can we work through this? Instead of just like, go to your room, or, go sit in the corner, like some of the things that I think a lot of older generations, that was the modeling that a lot of us had. And so trying to just become more aware of how you're connecting, and you need to have boundaries. You need to have those frameworks in place, but I think you can come at it with a little more grace than sometimes we've been shown.
Yeah. So you're not saying don't send them to your room or don't, give them whatever punishment that you do, because without any kind of negative feedback, we're going to raise children to be criminals, and we don't want that. We want them to be respectful people in society.
You absolutely need boundaries, and that's going to look different for every family. That's on you to figure out what that looks like in your home. But I think there's always room to try to connect and understand at a deeper level, besides just jumping to a punishment. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe you had a hard day at school, or maybe something crazy happened. Try to connect with them and be like, you know what, I'm sorry you're having, this, whatever is going on. I'm sorry this is happening. This isn't welcome behavior in our home. And then you need to dole out whatever that is as a mother or father. But I think there's always an invitation, opportunity to connect and go deeper and learn more from any situation you find yourself in.
I also will say this: there are some people that look more glass half empty, more negative. It's easier to find all the mistakes, especially with children. But one thing I've learned in my short years of parenting is the kids really love when I praise them for the good things that they do. And whether it's cheerleading them at the sports game or just telling them how I think they're just these wonderful children. They're beautiful. They're handsome. I'm proud of their creativity. Wow, you're so smart that you thought of that idea. I think that's a very important parental tool to have. And I mean, be realistic about it. I mean, if they're not that great, you don't have to go out of your way and say, well, that artwork's so wonderful, right? But at the same time, to never have any positive feedback from the parent to the child, I think could hurt the child self-esteem issues. I think it's so good that us as parents also with the corrections and say, okay, no, that's not acceptable behavior. We don't do that. At the same time, also say, hey, I'm cheering for you at school. I think you're going to do so great at the volleyball game or the football game, and then cheer out in public for your kids so everyone can hear what you think of them. I don't know. I just, in my experience doing that with my children, the students around them even enjoy, because I start cheering for the other kids, especially at the volleyball games or the football games. I start including all the kids, and then they miss me when I'm not there.
That's awesome. You bring the hype, and that's right. Pouring that goodness onto your kids is so valuable. Absolutely. And I think for the amount of corrections that a lot of kids receive too, you gotta balance that out. So yes, you're making corrections and, helping them fine tune who they are, but then to pour on that praise and build them up, that's going to give them confidence. And you're role modeling in such a positive way. I absolutely agree with what you're saying.
Well, the book is called Stop, Drop, Grow and Glow. Stop, Drop, Grow and Glow. Tongue twister there. Forming deeper and more joyful connections with yourself and your children. You can find this on Amazon. I want to thank you, Holly, for joining us today on the show.
Thank you so much, Amber. It was a pleasure.
Thank you for joining us today on the Amber May Show. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And if there's someone that came to mind, please share this episode with them. Please follow us on Telegram at The Amber May Show, True Social Amber May, Frank Socially Amber May, or Clout Hub. I can't wait to see you next time on the Amber May Show.